And just last night in this room, in talking about the history of this project, the river purchase of the riverfront project. We've been working this for a decade. In 2014, we started this community. It's called the ISTAT, Community Design Assessment Team, and it was a national competition. We won it through the American Institute of Architects. They brought the best and the brightest from across the country to come and meet and talk about what would be best for our community to activate this waterfront and do this. And they stayed for 3 days. They had an initial visit and a tour, and they came back for 3 days. And some of you in the room might recognize were part of that process. And we've been working on that vision ever since, and getting the funding in place, getting designs and plans, and getting these parts of the infrastructure, trying to get that tipping point where we start getting private investment opportunities here. But this is where all the work happens, and it's going to be great when it's done. But there's going to be, this is a construction piece of it, and I'm going to turn it over to Mohammed Zahir, which is our Public Works Director, managing the day-to-day operations of this project on the streets and utilities. And
Thank you, John, and thank you everyone who made it this evening. We appreciate your time. We thank our contractor who are also part of this great project for the city. Some of you probably know us and been involved into the newsletter that our communication team have set up. A lot of questions have been coming back and forth, and we're trying to stay on top of all the updates in real time to let you guys know. Our contractors have been extremely supportive and also involved into this process as we move forward. And you guys have been just as big of a stakeholder as we are as a city, because as a business owner and as a resident into Waterfront District, you play a big role. And we thank you for your patience, for your support. Thus far, we are 1 year into the project. It's a milestone. We are getting closer to kind of like the busy area now on Strand Street. And we know this area can get a little clunky, right? Thank you for being patient again. Bear with us. 9 more months and we'll be done. I promise you, we'll be a much better place. Cowlitz and Plymouth, kind of where Plymouth Pub, Cowlitz intersection, first and Cowlitz. It's one of those critical intersections that the gateway, waterfront, as we are building that big, beautiful circle where the dropout that you've seen already taken shape. So why are we doing this? 3 years ago when I joined the city, one of the council members said, Mohammed, I want to take you on a ride. First, he takes me to his favorite place, is the mill, which is busted. And then he takes me on a tour on some of the streets, and we did pass on this specific intersection. And he said, I'm going to let you drive and tell me what you think. I said, okay. I drove in this intersection. I'm taking a left on where Plymouth Pub is to come back on First. And let me tell you, I don't know how my car made it through that intersection. I was like driving in a hill or something. It looks great from a distance. However, when you drive on it, it's horrible. The intersection has been there for obviously a long time. It's not up to any standards of safety or streets improvement that I've seen in my career. So part of the big picture project you've already learned about, we've done all the blue ones, and now we're approaching this really important section over here. This is a blowout of what it's going to look like and what we're doing, what we put in there. So if you go today, there is no crosswalk. There is no ADA accessibility. There is no great safety for pedestrians that are involved, which is problematic. So this will be kind of an important piece coming up as we approach this next couple months, which, by the way, we have the keyword 30 days. Bear with us for 30 days, and we're moving out of this space. So we are in this phase that's really kind of in the nick of entering on this particular street. So this rendering here will give you just an idea of what is this going to look like when it's done. Those are extended bulb outs for safety, especially for pedestrians. We are putting the ADA accessibility. This section that is where this is a concrete raised. So this whole street will be level. It will be very safe for future reference, right? City is growing. We have a lot of activity. Tomorrow, this waterfront will be built. Hotels, think about that congestion, think about accessibility. And then we are enhancing parking, which is a big problem. I know some folks here, big problem with the parking. If anybody here from the physical therapy, think about this, the way I think about this issue, right? Someone has a broken leg, unfortunately, accident, something, right? You're uncomfortable. You're gonna go for 30 days, 60 days, get it fixed, get some physical therapy, come out, you're a great athlete back into circle. Same thing with this intersection, right? Construction creates destruction. It's just part of the business. There's no way around it, right? We have to get it fixed. The street is really in a terrible shape. Once we get that done, it will be so much better at the end and it will benefit everybody, especially those businesses, right? Safety for parking. We're doing all what we can. And that's why we always ask for you to please be patient, trust me, we feel your pain, we put ourselves in your shoes. And nobody wants this, we're there, we'll get it done, we'll move out. It'll be good. With that said, kind of like that's the big picture, I'll pass it to my team, Alex here, to give you more of the technical engineering behind it and what we're doing and kind of the project timeline and we'll go. And they will give you a lot of opportunity for all the questions and all the stuff you want to throw at me.
Yeah, so the projects can be split into 2 different phases. I don't know if we have a slide yet. So
Let me get this.
yeah, that's kind of the overlay of the improvements. Kind of what Muhammad was talking about with the intersection improvements. So this is kind of what the city is anticipating to do the aggressive 30-day, this disturbance timeline that MEI is basically proposing. The first phase would basically be in front of Plymouth Pub and the half street, kind of between Klondike and Plymouth Pub there. And so they'd be doing all of the utility work for the joint utilities, the lighting pole bases, the curb cuts, sidewalks, pretty much everything within that green space there. And then eventually they would move on to phase 2, where they would do the same thing and basically just flip kind of what their traffic control looks like there. The added benefit to this, obviously we want to try and minimize the amount of days that it's being disturbed as possible. If you broke it up into multiple phases, it would take longer in order to do that. Is there anything else you want to add to that, Cal or Todd? About your ideas?
Pretty much nailed it. I mean, it's just to cut down our time in the intersection.
Yeah.
Will there be access still to Plymouth Pub, even cause I know there wasn't access to Wild Current for just 2 days. So they're cutting off that corner door.
Yeah, so, they have those 2 exits over there on that side, so we're gonna visit with them and see if we can't make that the entrance, because we'll be improving all that sidewalk and stuff in front of their building. So, the first impact you'll see is we'll establish the new curb lines out there, and then we'll do the intersection. And then that will free up a little more traffic in that intersection to move around. And we'll do the flat work while that intersection is able to be traveled on a bit. And then when we get the flat work done, all the ADA ramps, sidewalks, all that, then we'll move that same process over to here. And so, Klondike, everybody can still park by coming all the way around on, around the horn, while we do that. And Klondike is probably one of the easier ones to get to. The pub will be the most dramatically impacted.
How will it just be, will there be one lane open?
There will be
to the
one.
intersection?
We'll show you a detailed plan of the traffic flow and the lines shortly after this, so we'll give you an idea of what's happening.
About pedestrian access coming down from Nob Hill, the hill back here.
So obviously, before we get into that one, you have plenty of pedestrian access, and then, we are obligated to make a route through our jobs, and we're greatly committed to, we're gonna impact the city. It's gonna impact, it's kind of like that, who moved the cheese type deal. Everybody's used to doing this one way. It's gonna disrupt what we're normally used to, but, if you can bear with us and just be mindful of it, we're gonna have our numbers, Todd and my numbers listed to everybody. We're not adverse to you guys calling and grabbing any information from us. If you feel like you're being impacted in an adverse way, you know, that's not acceptable to either us or the city. So, you know, I want you to feel like you have an advocate and someone that you can contact, but at the same time, you know, it's going to be an impact to some degree. That should be a limited amount of time and we'll get through it. And then when we get through it, you guys will be going, man, that's beautiful. Thank you. You know,
We can see when we turn the corner.
yeah. You know, and the new design that they're implementing is, you know, generated for traffic calming so that everybody is forced to slow down as they come into those intersections and stuff. So it'll be good for the community.
So, we can move on to Sharon, who has the actual traffic control routing. We'll hand out, plans. So we kind of go over what the routes look like.
Thank you, Kyle. So this will be a very important piece to kind of bear in mind with what is the traffic flow is gonna look like as we move forward and we start closing streets and lane and manage the traffic during business hours. And of course,
Yes.
Let me know if I needed to.
I think this is good. Yeah. So the first phase is gonna close basically the Cowlitz intersection in front of Plymouth and. So the yellow arrows is kind of showing you where the traffic flow is. So there will be no parking in these red areas. So basically from the plaza all the way down to almost Crooked Creek. There'll be no parking. Because there's gonna be traffic, basically you have to keep the 2 lanes open, you have to use this for lane. So there'll be 2 lanes coming through here, Cowlitz and this whole area where folks might live, coming down the hill, you should be fine, going right or left. So this one is pretty easy, for businesses and for deliveries. We will have a sign up by, Plaza for access to Strand Street, essentially. So you have to turn down on Plaza and come through here to access Strand and to access the Lotus and all these other businesses.
Yeah,
Questions on this part?
So right in front of the ambulance, you're gonna keep out almost all of our parking. There is a handicap spot there. We do a lot of business with elderly. Are you moving the handicap spot to the other side where the flow stops?
We could do a temporary on the other side of the street.
Or even one in your plaza area
Yeah.
there?
So we could, we did. Yeah. And other than that, yeah, so unfortunately, there will be restricted parking. Have people parking. So let's look at.
that looks like a.
One more question. How with this traffic flow are some of the larger delivery vehicles and say the garbage trucks and that have to service these commercial businesses? How are they going to get down Strand Street and get back? They really can't. I'm trying to figure it out first,
Or
yeah.
just, anybody coming down that street get turned around.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to probably.
Well, I mean, this is some of these large, I mean, and I'm kind of trying to speak up because. we
And I've
don't have
seen them,
limits here right now,
come through here and get through.
but.
They go.
Stop and unload.
Yeah. They go on a circular motion, so when US Chef store comes down and delivers to me and then goes to Plymouth. They stop at my business, which is up next to Scandalous, which is where the red zone is. They go down Cowlitz, deliver right there next to Klondike and Plymouth, and then they drive up the Strand and go out the plaza.
And that's the kind of thing that will dramatically impact some of our businesses down there. Even if it's just for a month, it's how are they gonna get their weekly deliveries? And, you know, and we've all been working with Hudson's and the garbage folks to kind of make sure that our pickups happen.
Hudson Garbage should be able to easily.
Yeah, they're a little more maneuverable.
Yeah, so they should be able to easily maneuver there. Probably some of the more bigger semis. They'll probably just have to work with, you guys.
Yeah.
On maybe moving a barricade or something and trying to make that.
And they're scheduled deliveries, so we can communicate that with you guys, like they deliver every Wednesday and Friday.
They're like big, that's why they've got it.
That would be the best thing, is if we had a schedule, it's scheduled deliveries and we have the schedule, then we can forecast it, and we do daily meetings.
At 11 a.m. Wednesdays and Fridays, so it's pretty.
But it is our goal to make sure that we can get them in and make sure they make their weekly delivery.
In general, it's our district. Out of curiosity, I've been down to the very end of Strandon a bit. Where a couple summers ago it had that wider turnaround radius.
Talking about down here.
Yeah, is that even possible to make as a turnaround radius at this point? I haven't
We
walked
did
over.
consider it, we did.
So I think that's the construction entrance for,
We what?
In that area.
Coles Road now.
Yeah.
We're, you know, that's gonna be real estate. There's a construction entrance there.
Yeah.
It's a little rocky, but.
Mostly just trying to think of how all the locals there are trying to get their cars turned around. With the extra congestion.
Well, with just the regular cars, I mean, that turnaround is fairly adequate. To turn around. I mean, if it isn't, we can always look at it.
There's no turnaround.
There is no
There
turnaround,
is
like
no
if all the
turnaround
parking that
There
is
used to
on
be,
the
there
street
is
side.
no turnaround
All
there.
the Cowlitz parking for the people living up.
Could you put some no parking signs at the end so that would be easier, because you get people park right across there, and really it should be left open.
We're trying to not pick up any more
Right.
parking down here,
Otherwise, it's people backing up. That's the
Yeah,
only
that's-
way
The oncoming
to get out
traffic,
scary.
yeah.
we'll definitely look at that.
So I think this is a great opportunity that we're hearing some of your concerns, so we're taking also notes now as we speak, because this is a live document, remember, 30 days. We want to work with you and we want you to work with us, especially if there is deliveries that we know of, schedules, partnership with those folks, right? We want to make this work, right, and we are able to adjust certain things as we move forward, so.
And just kind of for point of clarification, will kind of the nose end parking that extends down past Crooked Creek, will that be available for nose end parking, or is there gonna be kind of where is the construction?
For
gonna
this,
be?
for this phase, it will be,
Good.
the second phase is a little more complicated, so let's go into that one.
So we are. The plan is to, so I've got. This plan doesn't show it, but I've got a street intersection right here
Yeah.
on A Street. Right next to her house and. So to Wallerton, the new street that's to Wallerton, we were gonna build first. And then A Street, and then, and so this should be pretty much developed up to there by the time we get to Cowlitz and start taking Cowlitz apart. And so we have, you know, the city and I can work together on timing, and if, depending on where I'm at construction wise, I mean, we can make little access here and create a turnaround that frees up some.
I think that would be amazing.
Well, that's been pretty good. Until I got into that radius area. And so, you know, we'll look up something that doesn't to block everybody off.
We're talking about 30 days, we're talking about the whole Cowlitz intersection being 30 days, so maybe. You know,
Or
or
both sides being 30.
is phase 1 30 days and phase 2 is 30 days?
Days, correct.
Okay,
Yes, 30 days, perfect.
thank you.
In the grand scheme of things, this is actually record time, or sizable. I would be very happy with 30 days.
Understood. I just, yeah, this is gonna be, as I go out in the community and I start hearing people talking about it, I wanna make sure that my assumptions are right. And if we're all kind of clear in this room right now, we have a chance to kind of spread realistic information rather than outrage. So that's where I'm coming from on this.
Jenny, can we go to the next one? I really wanna get into the one. Well, this one, and then on your map, it's gonna say, map B or change B. This is gonna be the second phase. Matrix, yeah. The other side, Cowlitz.
The other way?
Okay. Zoom in a little bit, zoom out, sorry. It's a little small. So basically when we put to the other side of Cowlitz, basically in front of Jilly's. There's not gonna be any access from this area, basically Cowlitz to get to the street.
No vehicle access.
No vehicle access. So it's gonna be a pretty big detour, basically 4th Street and Columbia and St. Helens Street. Come in of this area, you won't be able to get to it. In addition to that, there's a little bit less parking that's gonna be taken up. However, the important thing here is that because this is the only access to 1st Street, past the Cowlitz Street, this little lane here is still gonna be, even though the hours don't show it, it's gonna be a 1-lane road.
Okay.
So basically, we're gonna have 2 cars coming through there, so somebody's probably gonna have to back up when they see someone coming in. There's really no other way to do it, other than building another road somewhere.
So on phase one, there will be two-way traffic, but
Yeah.
on phase two, there's only one-way
It's
traffic,
gonna be just 1
and
lane,
that's gonna be going north.
yes, so it'll be basically going nowhere. Yeah, so basically it'll be a 1-lane road, but it'll be 2 cars. We'll have to.
So how do you get past Cowlitz going south there? I don't see how we would get in there, like for the garbage trucks
So
or.
when you have to turn here, the garbage trucks, they'll have to coordinate with NEI.
Okay, because that is gonna be an issue. That's the only,
We're aware of the garbage truck pickup.
the alleyway there.
Yeah.
And so to be able to get in that way, we have to coordinate. And we can do it on given days, we can give you time.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way.
And there's gonna be flaggers, during the daytime when MEI is working, or in the evenings and on the weekend. We'll just have a sign up and. Use.
And on Strand, it will stay two-way traffic on Strand as well, though.
Yes.
Question, sir, over there?
On Cowlitz Street there between First and, let's go, okay. You got it blocked off at, right on Cowlitz Street at First. And then coming down the hill, it's blocked off up above. And we don't have any access then to our house.
You'll have.
It's local access.
Local.
But you would.
So local resident businesses should be no problem.
So the folks that live here and then here, you do have access. We just don't want everybody just basically going down there and then congesting the whole.
So if you're a local, you're a VIP. Just get in and out as you wish, no problem.
When you're done, everything will be 2-way again.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason we have to do it this way is once this site is built out, the intersection is gonna be basically bulked out and pretty tight, so it's not gonna be as wide as the first part of construction. So there just wouldn't be enough room potentially to have that 2-way.
How far are those corners coming out that won't hinder trucks trying to turn or RVs trying to turn? Cause it's tight enough now as it is.
For these bulb outs.
You got 22 feet, right? It's 22.
So, yeah.
So there-
This is designed for plenty of room for all of those.
There's standards for that. So there are standards like ODOT standards that we have to follow by law. That gives you the width maximum and minimum where you have to accommodate emergencies. Trucks of all sizes and whatnot. So it is designed. So should not.
When this work is done at the Cowlitz intersection, is the street on First Street then gonna be repaved?
along here?
Yes, up towards then the other end of the street where the arch was gonna go and stuff. Will that section?
Oh, you're talking about First and St. Helens?
Yeah. The street there is in such poor shape. You're gonna fix both ends of that street.
I mean, and we haven't even gotten here, but this intersection is basically gonna look like the Cowlitz intersection is gonna be.
Road between the two, is it going?
So the road between St. Helens and Cowlitz, that's not gonna be on this project for paving.
Thank you very much.
So I would like to, I'm kind of blindsiding the city a little bit, hopefully. Careful, Cal. But with everybody here, I think it's important. So I have an extensive undergrounding portion to this that needs to go through that area right here, all right? That in order for me to be out of that intersection in expeditious manner, I need to get those utilities in there first. And everybody knows St. Helens Rock is brutal. And so Todd and I were going over that before we got in this meeting, and I didn't have time to share with the city, so I'm gonna be proposing to the city that before I take and start killing everybody in that intersection, that I take a sliver and let me get my conduit in there. And that could take 10 days or something. So there will be, if they approve it, there will be a temporary traffic impact while I do that. It may be one lane at a time, one side at a time. You know, I just come out to that intersection and then do it here and then flip it, you know, probably no more impact than what you've seen the gas company do out there, and I'm sure a whole lot less time.
That utilities, last summer when they were working on the gas line, we live in that house in the corner.
Yeah.
And it's got the big magnolia tree.
Yeah.
And they cut quite a few of the roots.
Yeah.
Right off the sidewalk. So you gonna be out more to the center, or are you gonna go through and
We are,
cut more roots?
believe me, if you're, and that's a beautiful tree, that's a beautiful little wall that you have running around there. And so, you know, we're not at liberty to just, even if the root patterns in below our concrete, I'm not able to start doing anything until everybody buys in on it. Right? I mean,
They didn't ask us anything, but they just cut through and.
yeah, that's the gas company. You know, and I wouldn't want the liability of that tree becoming non-living and
Tree law is very expensive.
And the other thing, that you got the no parking in front of the house next to us. Yeah. Should be up a little bit, our driveway's a little bit, I guess, north of that, where you got it.
Yep. You guys are always being able to park. This line is a little not to scale on that part.
Okay.
All right, so my intersection, you know, on your side, yeah, here's your house, so you can see this kicks in real quick. That turnaround here, it ain't quite so quick. So I'm gonna do that curve, and that's gonna be the extent for that time being of the intersection impact. All right, I'm gonna be doing everything that way under another little.
A couple more questions.
Yeah.
A lot of parking lots or spots are gonna be done away with. I think it shows 2 trees in front of our house and where it's parking now. Have you got a plan to replace that parking, like maybe down on the old mill property or?
Well, eventually there's gonna be more parking added when First Street is completely built out, and that's the idea.
Okay. And last thing, Cowlitz Street from First up to Second. In the past, it's been kind of like a Pikes Peak hill climb. Is it possible to put a couple speed bumps up there as you're going up that hill? On that corner, it's.
Going up the hill on.
Cowlitz. Yeah, go to Second.
Yeah.
It's just
Horrible.
going up the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You come up on the first, take a little bit of a left and then up the hill.
That's not likely. But we would have to look at it. There's certain criteria before putting speed humps. No, that's not it. It usually has to do with emergency access, truck access, the classification of the road. And we're formulating a policy on how to determine that right now. We're working on that. It's just looking at this road, it's not likely that this would be one of them. But we will definitely take a look at it.
We have a lot of skateboarders that we,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna get killed one of these days.
Yeah.
I mean, there's these really close calls.
In the back, where
Cal, could you explain that Cowlitz road part? Yeah, and
Cowlitz intersection.
I can't picture, without the planning being on there, what are you saying is gonna happen there? Is it,
So Tualatin is gonna look like this also.
in the brand new intersection.
where does it start? Is it right where the stairs?
Yeah, I mean, exactly, that stairway comes right down.
What's it tie into?
Yeah, so is it coming towards the river from First? Is that what you're saying, or is it going towards the stairs?
If you look at the things,
So the stairs coming down.
Cowlitz is that last staircase over there.
Oh,
Right before.
the different one.
Yeah, so basically the staircase comes down into a big open, kind of developed little area.
How long is that area gonna be closed, the staircase that's there?
So the staircase is closed now with a diversion, right? Right, so, we are, how long did our concrete guy say he thought?
We're bringing in our concrete guys, a week from next, and they plan on being there till, late February. So about 4 or 5 weeks in there.
And does that trail at the bottom there still go left? Or is that staircase?
Yeah, you can go to the left, that's what, yeah, yeah. And that's gonna be, you know, so even though that we completed that, until we get completely off of that street and kind of get that, you know, access coming down there would just be, you know, there's gonna be a lot of construction going on there because it's gonna be limited access during that time until after we get done with Cowlitz.
So you did say you were gonna be putting up a sign so that people would know, particularly during phase one, that they can actually get,
Business is open and.
Strand Street.
Yeah.
As a recommendation, can we just actually, as part of that, have the business signs as part of that too? Who's down there?
There's gonna be blue business, access signs.
It just says business access. It
Yeah.
doesn't say who the businesses are or anything. It's just
Is it
business
possible to do
access.
that? I mean,
You're talking about putting the actual name of the business
so
on there?
have a little bit more
A
that
little more wayfinding for
particular businesses that are.
the existing
Yeah,
businesses.
like, for example, patients that are new that have never been to the clinic, they're trying to find it, stuff like that.
Do you guys have a recommendation or suggestion, something you like that might work, so we can consider? I mean, if you can send us,
I think even just that is like local businesses, but if they can't. If they haven't been, for example. They're taking the kind of this back road, this, like the signage just reinforcing, oh, yeah, you're going to the right businesses, that you're thinking of getting to the right spot.
So when you're having the sign that says businesses open, just list the businesses that have access to that open area. As a recommendation.
yeah,
Like Uber Eats. When those drivers don't know how to find the restaurant that's open, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's kind of an issue there is, as far as the contractors go, is those are standard signs that are out by ODOT and by all the regulating agencies that we have to abide by.
Okay.
So when you see the blue business access, somebody at somewhere said, this is the sign we're gonna use, and it glows when the lights hit and all that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that the city in and of themselves, or we could help out with, you know, some sort of wayfinding sign that's different than that, but the actual blue signs that you see are.
Yeah, the blue sign is
Those,
fine,
those
we're
don't
just
have to be,
You're just saying to add that to.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
One thing we could do is be more flexible on the sandwich boards that you already have. I mean, you already have corrugated plastic yard signs, many of your businesses to direct people that way already, and so maybe place.
There are restrictions.
Then 60 days that this is up, that may make more sense than creating new signs.
Yeah,
Would you guys remove any of those restrictions that maybe prevent the businesses that have those signs out front? Cause I know
There are so many restrictions to using those signs.
Sure. I'm saying that we could make exceptions to those during this temporary construction period that is extended
That's perfect.
60 days. I think that's a good solution. I mean, that's my suggestion. It's a development rule,
Yeah.
exception too.
Okay.
Yeah. Also got another question, that gentleman over here was talking earlier about people with speed going up the hill. And when you get to the other side of the hill, 4th Street, going back down by the old John Gum School. Very steep hill, there's no shoulder for people to walk on. I've been wanting to say, I think that neighborhood should be a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit.
As someone who lives on South Fourth and John Gum, I agree.
You know, that whole area up on top of the hill. We get Halloween traffic when it's closed, we get July traffic. And
It's already 25.
they're really fast, especially 4th, where there's no shoulder for anybody to be walking on.
I think it's already 25 miles an hour.
Yeah. 20.
So typically 20 miles an hour is restricted for like school zones and residential streets would be 25.
City of Portland have a lot of 20-mile-an-hour streets.
Yeah. We can definitely look into it.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could lower the speed limit up on top of the hill. Slow the people down since we don't have sidewalks in most of that part of the neighborhood.
I think people that are speeding there aren't gonna listen to a new 20-mile-an-hour zone.
So that's the key. We put signs, we put radars, lookalike signs, we put a lot of things, unfortunately. The enforcement piece is a challenging one, right? People see that and they never follow. What do you do?
Get you more leg to stand on though.
Yeah.
I just want.
So is there a stop sign going into that 3-way stop? It's gonna be a 4-way stop now? They're on.
Cowlitz. As far as I know, and Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, we're not changing the stopping. I think that it's still gonna be First Street coming through. Right.
Yeah.
But Cowlitz, right now Cowlitz can turn onto First Street without stopping, and this is where the stop is, and up here. As far as I know.
It's just First Street doesn't have.
The three-way stop.
Okay, first, so as far as I know, it's gonna be.
The same, okay.
That's a
It'll
good
probably
question.
change once this starts.
Any chance of that changing? Okay.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking all intersections should be.
Yeah, if we see that there's a need to have it be a 4-way intersection, we definitely will look into that.
Yeah.
And we can fully make that adjustment for safety. We're all.
It's easy to do it at this intersection.
Saying like we're already in the construction, why not just do this now rather
I
than
think you're right. It should
going
be
back? Only, I mean, I think that the improvement of there being more sidewalk will help that, cause I think the problem is people can't see around the cars that are parked on that corner. And people are very apologetic and they're not going fast, so that's why they have time to stop, but the people that aren't going slow like they're supposed to be, we've almost been hit several times. Especially in the dark, cause there's no lighting right there.
That's the chance of that happening very likely. I can tell you based on just one.
Good news is too, with these new intersection designs, we're doing new lighting too, so there should be a lot more lighting available at these intersections, so. I know there's been complaints or at least about some lightings and stuff around some of these intersections, so we're gonna be improving upon that.
So I think at this point, if you have any specific questions, you can
Yeah, it's an
talk
open.
to any of us, just kind of mill around, have something to eat. And if you have specific questions about your business or residents, where it is. So,
One more. Last summer, couple times, not all the time, they'd be out there starting at 5 in the morning or 6.
Yes.
Yeah, they start their tractors up, they'd idle for an hour or a half hour. I thought,
We have ordinance that. No,
They shouldn't, we have a noise ordinance.
I know it's not MEI.
I think that happened like very early on in the project, so it shouldn't be happening anymore.
Late too.
There was a little, we all kind of felt like that out there in the middle of the field wasn't such an impact. But that noise and that hammer that was going on, the sound travels right up that bluff. And so we quickly got a response and made some adjustments, all right? I'm hoping that everybody feels that was valid, because
Hopefully that's not happening anymore.
It won't happen.
and as we get into the the city now it's where it's gonna be really important that we, make everybody feel like that any issues that you guys are seeing that they're attending to.
In regard to the evening work, generally we shut down around 5, but there's been a few times where we just haven't been able to button up the work, and then so sometimes we do.
I don't care about that, I'm not sleeping then.
We have a noise ordinance, so the noise ordinance basically is from 10 PM to 7 AM, where there's absolutely no construction work or anything like that in the city. Obviously,
Start at 7, isn't that normal time to start?
Yeah. Okay. And it depends, if it's not light out, I mean, summertime, but if it's dark out, usually I think we're doing 7:30.
Yeah, we're 7:30 right now.
Because the light changes, so. We're getting back on it. Yeah.
We've done in 30 days.
Yeah.
So for the Cowlitz intersection, it's scheduled for sometime in mid-February. Sorry.
Hopefully done.
That may change, but we'll let you know when we get closer.
You'll have notices that it's happening.
We did have an incident not too long ago where there was some work unauthorized on a weekend. Northwest Natural, it was an MEI, just to clear that, they came on Saturday, I think, and they clogged where the physical therapy is. Trust me, that was not on the city or on the contractor, we had someone showing up to work on something without any approval, authorization, miscommunication. We called the numbers that were disconnected, it was a debacle, for all of us. So apology on that end, but really it wasn't by the city because it shouldn't be working on.
But I got the calls anyway.
All right, go.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, please think of any other questions. We're here to listen, to support you. And again, please understand, we are in this with you. We want you to be understanding. This is less than 9 months to go. We're all done and we're all happy. We'll get through this. It's been a year already. Thank you for being patient
And
and
if people want to take
Yeah.
extra maps with them for their fellow businesses and residents that weren't here, yes,
No,
I'm gonna
that works
put them.
great last time, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Uh,